Hi, welcome back to my channel. So I was fully intending on posting this on Saturday, but instead you're getting it on Sunday, and I apologize for that. I was putting off recording this in hopes that I would get more done and more to report back on, but instead I had to sleep off a migraine throughout the day. So I did not get as much done as I had wanted. And let's just say the bottom of the skirt has been an absolute nightmare to make. I have not enjoyed the bottom of the skirt at all. And what I'm referring to is this part right here, only this red part. It looks easy. This looks like it's going to be super easy. It's just gathered up. However, well, I originally wanted to cut it into like just a very big circle skirt. So essentially measuring the top of the area right here to get that measurement, and then measuring how far I think the gather should be, which I did do a test. It needs to be, I think it's like at least double or 2.5 times the length, so that when I gather it up, it'll be the right length when I attach it to that under part that I made. So I was trying to do like a circle skirt thing, and nothing would work. No matter how I laid this on the velvet, I just could not get a circle skirt with this sort of width to fit. And I could split it up into multiple pieces and sew those together. I thought about doing like 2 pieces to create the circle skirt. I thought about 3, and in the end I wound up cutting it into 15 individual pieces because of this little swoop here. I really wanted to make sure that was emphasized, and I was uncertain of how it would look with just like the circle skirt. I wasn't certain with the amount of gathering that I was going to do, whether that would impact how this bottom hem would lay, and I honestly wasn't 100% certain if even cutting out as a circle skirt with the gathering, if that would even be enough. And I just decided that it would be best to cut out individual panels that would then gather up. This is one panel. And I did do like a quick little mock-up with this. I didn't take any footage, unfortunately, of that, but this is one panel, and it will get gathered up along the seam here. It'll get gathered up along the seam here, and then it'll get gathered up in the middle. So it looks big, but when it gets gathered up, this will be about half the length that it currently is. And then I cut it on a curve on the bottom to accommodate for the circle skirt, added in a little arc up here to accommodate for the arc and the skirt itself. So theoretically, all 15 will fit around the bottom of that skirt. Technically it's 14 to fit perfectly around, but I added a 15th because I do think my measurements were off a little bit, and that 15th panel will give me a little wiggle room. So I got all those cut out of the velvet, sewed them all together, and I once again cannot hem velvet. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I cannot hem velvet. I have tried every trick I could find. I've tried pinning the absolute crap out of it. I have tried paper, like butcher paper or wax paper or tissue paper underneath it. I have tried serging it and then using the serge to sort of like roll up the hem and then try to roll it up again. I have tried every different foot that I have, whether it was for that job or not for that job. I tried everything I could think of. I tried every piece of advice I found online, and I cannot hem velvet. I cannot do it. Just a rolled hem, I absolutely can't do it. I tried, I failed, and I was so close to throwing in the towel and giving up on this altogether. I was so frustrated with it when it finally hit me that maybe I could bag line it. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I cut out an additional 15 of these out of some satin I got from Fabric Wholesale Direct, and I am currently in the process of sewing those two together. It is just a process. I have to put dozens of pins into it very close together to keep it from moving, and it's finally not moving, which is great because the satin and the velvet like to slide around, and I finally got it secure enough, at least against those two fabrics, to stitch together. So I am in the process of doing that. So I'm going to stitch the bottom together, stitch the sides, flip it over, stitch the top, and then put in the gathering stitches. Now I'm really hoping this will look right. And I know it's not perfect, but I feel like the gathers may hide some of the flaws if I'm lucky. And then I can put that mostly onto the underskirt that I made for it. And then I can work on the honeycomb smocking in the front. And I can finally be done with this stupid underskirt. I am so tired of this underskirt. But a part of my delay was also that I just ran out of velvet. I think I needed 5.5 more yards to finish cutting out all those panels. So I had to order more velvet, and in the meantime I started working on the leather corset. And I can't remember if I put this in my last update or not. It's a little fuzzy. I had a trip last week, and I know that I put up a non-update video last week, my bill book video, to sort of accommodate for not having an update. There will be more details on this, but I did start working on the leather pieces. I started practicing my tooling and cutting out. I had already made the pattern for this based off of my bodice pattern, and it's so funny. I was like feeling so clever with my original idea of having it buckled directly onto the corset, and then I sort of nixed that idea because I'm like, the corset itself is just not going to be able to handle the weight of the velvet. It's going to pull weird, so I'm not going to do that anymore. And then I was like, okay, so I'll just make a full corset. I'll just have it lace up in the back. It'll be fine. I'll figure it out. It'll be weird with the double lacing, but I had a plan. And I looked at the artwork once again, just a little more closely, and realized that it absolutely has side buckles. It's very hard to see, but it does have side buckles. And I don't know why I didn't think originally in the beginning to just make the back a solid leather piece and then have the buckles on the side just be how I get in and out of the corset. I was overcomplicating absolutely everything with that leather corset, but I have my pattern down. I have a front panel and a couple side panels made. I will get back to that once I finish this underskirt, or once I finish the skirt, really. It was the only thing that I had to work on at the time, so I took the time to figure out exactly what I wanted to do with that and how I wanted to paint it and everything. So I'm in a really good spot with the leather. I just have to actually finish tooling it and shaping it and whatnot. So we're in a good spot with that, but I'm not going to pick that up again until after the skirt. I've learned a lot from this, and realistically, something that's difficult you can learn a lot from, and I will be able to take these skills forward into my next build. But during my struggle and waiting for all of my stuff to come in, I have all my panels mocked up. I believe in an earlier update I mentioned that I have my embroidery drawn up and digitized, ready to go. I have this front pink and red part mocked up and ready to go. I just have to I have the bottom ruffle here completely done, so that will get sewn on at the same time that this part gets sewn on, but I have to finish the honeycombing first as well, I think. Ooh, no, I actually think that once I finish this, I'm going to sew the ruffle on with the red, and I think the honeycombing will actually attach up here. Maybe, I don't know, I'll have to think that through a bit more. So I'm in a really good spot with all of this. So I have some additional updates with this build. So I mentioned before, I believe, that these panels right here, I wanted to make out of satin because I officially hate velvet. It looks beautiful, but it is extremely hard to work with, and I'm very tired of fighting with it. So I was going to make these out of satin, and I have been struggling to find the perfect satin. Nothing matches the deep color of that velvet. Nothing. I have probably ordered 30 plus swatches from various places and nothing matches. Here's a bunch of swatches I went through. I even tried dyeing some of these with some purple and some additional red to try and make it into a closer match. It did not work. I ended up falling in love with a red satin from Prime Fabrics New York, and it's just so funny because that was actually the first fabric I fell in love with. It was too vibrant for my build, but because it looks so rich and lustrous, and at certain angles it kind of got a little darker, it looked rich. I thought I could pull it off with that. $50 a yard. So then I went and found the burgundy. That's when I gave up and was like, I'm just gonna have to do a burgundy. It was $75 a yard. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going in the wrong direction. So I decided to pull the trigger and order the $50 a yard acrylic satin is what I think it is. It's like an Italian acrylic satin. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And I ordered it from Prime Fabric New York, which is a company I had never ordered from before, but it looks like they're actually a storefront in New York City, and it made me feel a bit more comfortable to try from there. I also ordered a swatch of this, which is how I fell in love with it, and it was just the most beautiful fabric. And then I'm like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm gonna spend $200 on this fabric. So I bought some fabric, and then they emailed me the next day or a few hours later, something like that. Not too long after, they emailed me and they said there is a flaw in this fabric, all over this fabric, and they struggled to take a photo of it. They're like, it's so subtle, we can't really get it to show up on a photo, but we tried. Here's the photo. Do you want to continue with your order? If so, we'll give you a little bit of a discount. And I was like, I have no idea what flaw they're talking about. The photo looked kind of fine to me, so I was like, yeah, it's fine, I'll just go ahead and take it. So I did get a little bit of discount in the end, so it's not as bad as it was going to be. And the fabric just got delivered, and oh my goodness. I really, really hope the quality of this fabric shows up on camera, because this is the most beautiful satin I have ever held in my life. It has this amazing luster to it. It's heavy. It's got a beautiful drape, but it's still thick and stiff, and it is just stunning. This is, I love a good red, but this is like, I think, my favorite kind of red. It's a little cooler toned than all the other reds I was looking at, which I thought would work well with the dark red velvet, because that was a bit of a cooler tone red. I love this red so freaking much. I still don't know what the flaw is. So there's this texture. I don't know if it's going to show up. There's these stripes on it, and I have never ordered this kind of fabric before. It's called Italian Viscose Acetate Satin. I've never had this fabric before, and on the swatch, to be fair, these stripes showed up. I think that's what they think the flaw is, because there's nothing else on it but these stripes, and I was okay with that. I was perfectly okay with that. I'm more than happy with this, and I just love that they emailed me, and they also included a handwritten note that I thought was so sweet. It just says, thank you for your order, enjoy your beautiful fabric, Bambi and the Prime family. And I love this little touch. It's just on my pack slip. It's like no special paper or anything like that. So I'm in love with this. I think this will hold up beautifully to having the weight of the embroidery on it. And I'm gonna do something. I'll do something a little crazy. I'm gonna remake the corset with this. I know, I struggled so much with the corset, and then I got it patterned, and then it was done, and I was like, oh, it's fine, and I made a whole video on how I made it. But I really don't like the velvet. I keep thinking I'm going to come back and like the velvet would be fine, and I thought it would be fine under the leather. I'm like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. But when I saw this, the corset in the satin is going to look so much cleaner and so much more stunning. So I am going to remake the corset. I'm not going to take this one apart. I'm going to just remake it. And if I like how it looks without the boning, then I will harvest the boning from the velvet corset and the beads and the gold trim, not the leather trim, because that'll be like, it's already scarred from sewing. I have plenty more of that, but I'm going to just compare the two and then make a decision on which one should survive. And I think this one is going to win. Just like, oh my God, this is so worth the $50 a yard. I'm so glad I got it on a discount. Thank you, Prime Fabrics. I'm actually going to be traveling to New York City next year, and I definitely want to see if I can make a trip to their store, because I'm just freaking, I don't know if you saw my last update with Zella Fabrics or whatever, and how disappointed I was. I think I'm just over the moon that this is such a huge turn in quality. Granted, it's more expensive, so it should be better quality, but just the service And this fabric just, I'm just in love. So I'm really excited that I may have found a new place to order fabric from. It's a little pricey because it is like premium fabric, but I think it's worth it when I'm trying to take my cosplays to the next level. So if I'm switching my corset to satin, why am I still messing with velvet? Well, velvet still drapes like a dream. Velvet looks gorgeous in these sort of it just gathers up. It looks wonderful. It emphasizes this, and it'll still give me that watercolor effect I'm looking for. So here's the plan. Here's the new plan. So this part down here is going to remain velvet. This is what I'm working on right now. These are going to be this bright, this gorgeous satin, these right here. Okay. There is like a little, there's like a gathered overskirt up here. That is going to be velvet. These sleeves here, the bell part, that's going to be satin because I can freaking hem it. So that's going to be satin. The stripes in the sleeve are going to be velvet. And I think I'm going to make this neck collar out of velvet. And then I have to make a decision on this, whether or not I want the red to be velvet or satin. Honestly, it's probably going to be satin because the way I'm imagining it is stripes, right? So velvet up here, satin on the sleeves, velvet overskirt, satin middle skirt, velvet lower skirt. So I'm imagining it in stripes. And I do think that the variety in fabric may give it a nice little oomph, you know, make it look a little bit more, I don't know, luxe, I guess. So that is where we're at with the build. I honestly, I think I say this every time. I thought this was going to be a really short update. It wasn't. So I'm going to put this on pause because I have another guesting spot coming up, but I'm going to wait to tell you exactly which one I'm going to until they've made their announcement. But I'm very, very excited. I need to prioritize that a little bit. I will be wearing my free run costume that I wore to MomoCon, but I am going to make a brand new Sailor Cosmos costume. But it's gonna be like a casual tea party Cosmos. My group Mystic Guardians is doing a tea party theme, so I'm gonna do just a quick little dress with that and probably make an iridescent leather belt to go with it, which I'm kind of excited for. I've found that I actually really like to work with leather, so I'm going to incorporate that. And then I've decided to take on another build. I'm going to make the bird skull dress from Ravenna's bird skull dress from Snow White and the Huntsman. I'm kind of going to do it my own way. I'm pretty sure I can probably pull this off since it's not going to be a competition. I feel pretty okay doing this, and I'll walk through that build with you all as well. And I need to make some additional things to have at my booth, so the next couple of months are probably going to be focused on these. But don't worry, there'll still be build content because I will be making Ravenna. But in the meantime, until my materials and patterns arrive for that, I will be continuing working on my Sakizo build. So I'm hoping next week to post the making of the underskirt, and then the next few videos we'll be making Ravenna and updates with the con. So that is where I will be pivoting to for probably the rest of 2024, and then I will pop back over to my Sakizo build when I am done with all that. So super excited. I'll give you all the details and panels and whatnot that I will be hosting there as well. And yeah, so I guess that's it. If you like this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have any comments, or questions, make sure to put them down below. And if you like these videos, you like my updates, and you like my crafting videos and all these other things, make sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can get more content like this. And I hope I didn't stress you out too much with my frustration coming through the screen, as I'm sure it is, but that's cosplay, right? That's cosplay. We get frustrated and we figure it out, and sometimes we just want to give up, but the end result makes it all worth it, right? Like, it's gonna be wonderful to wear this piece, especially competing and being able to walk across stage. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna go edit this and schedule it to post tomorrow, and then probably go to bed. So I will see you all in my next video. Bye.